Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ha, Racha Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Aharawan Banyasharala of the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere Akim pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Ban Yasharala coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala here in Jacksonville, Florida. And not today, I'll be coming out a lesson that's on this article. Caught my eye as I was reading, and the title here says, Russia says it no longer will abide by its self-imposed moratorium on intermediate-range missiles. Now, these intermediate-range missiles, this is talking about Putin, that Orshnik, newly developed Orshnik missile that he developed, and is going to be set forth in mass production. And those are intermediate range missiles. They can go from anywhere from 130 miles to 3,400 and some change miles, give or take. So that's still very far. That still can do can reach very far off places. And also these intermediate range missiles, according to this article, because I did read the article first, well, most of it anyway. They could very well be armed with nuclear warheads. But let's continue. Zalakia. It says Russia has declared that it no longer considers itself bound by a self-imposed moratorium on the deployment of nuclear-capable intermediate-range missiles. So they're no longer going by the nuclear doctrine that they impose on themselves. This is what Russia is doing. But continuing, it says a warning that potentially sets the stage for a new arms race as tensions between Moscow and Washington rise again over Ukraine. Arms race, whatever. But to according to the truth, according to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua and prophecy, this is a furthering towards the third woe, and even a step closer to the Lord burning this place with fire. But let's continue. It says, in a statement Monday, Russian Foreign Ministry linked the decision to efforts by the U.S. and its allies to develop intermediate-range weapons and preparations for their deployment in Europe and other parts of the world. Specifically cited U.S. plans to deploy Typhoon and Dark Eagle missiles in Germany starting next year. It says the ministry noted Salakia, that such actions by the U.S. and its allies create destabilizing missile potentials. It's just destabilization, period, because the Lord is directing this part of the story towards war, the third woe, Salakia. But it says the ministry noted that such actions by the U.S. and its allies create destabilizing missile potentials near Russia, creating a direct threat to the security of our country and carry significant harmful consequences for regional and global stability, including dangerous escalation of tensions between nuclear powers. And that's exactly what's going on, but that's exactly what's supposed to be happening as well. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. It says it didn't say what specific moves the Kremlin might take, but President Putin has previously announced that Moscow was planning to deploy its new Orshnik missiles on the territory of its neighbor and ally Belarus later this year. So that's sometime this year. And it says, asked where and when Russia could potentially deploy intermediate range weapons, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that is not something to be announced in advance. And of course, that's how you work. That's how war works. This devil, he wants you to expose your hand while he keep his hand a secret. You know what I'm saying? But he wants you to tell about everything you got going on. That's why these nations have been very secretive lately when it comes down to Babylon America. They have not been letting America in on nothing. Or they'll give them some surface area type stuff, and then that's it. But let's continue. It says Russia no longer has any limitations. Russia no longer considers itself constrained by anything, Peskov told reporters. So they've basically Russia has taken the limiters off. They then took off the level cap. Now they're finna power all the way up. It says, therefore, Russia believes that it has the right to take respective steps if necessary, and of course that is true. It says decisions on specific parameters of response measures will be made by the leadership of the Russian Federation based on interdepartmental analysis of the scale of deployment of American and other Western land-based intermediate-range missiles, as well as the development of the overall situation in the area of international security, strategic stability, and foreign ministry. Basically, Russia is going to power up, going to scale to whatever power level or whatever the Babylon America come with. They're going to meet them at that level and then rise above that with something way more deadly. Let's continue. Yeah, this is kind of like some jargon, but let's get to the other point. Being right here, INF treaty abandoned in 2019. It says intermediate range missiles can fly between 500 to 550 kilometers, 310 to 3,400 miles, and such land-based weapons were banned under the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Trump withdrew from the pact in his first term, citing Russian violations, which Moscow denied. It in turn alleged that the U.S. had committed violations, which probably did happen and was true, which the U.S. committed violations. The treaty was terminated in 2019, but the Kremlin declared its self-imposed moratorium on their deployment until the U.S. makes such a move. So they kept a limit and they kept a bind on themselves should anything happen. And something has happened. America has made the dumbest move ever because you have no more wisdom in the Mount of Edom. The Lord has taken that away. Is there no more wise man in Edom? No, it ain't. That's why these things are happening. So the other tribe of Adawam, the Russians, they kept a treaty and a limit on themselves so that when nothing happened, but until such serious moves were made. And now they've taken that treaty off. They've taken off the limiter. So now Babylon America, that's huffing and puffing, poking at the fire, poking the bear, and they tell you don't poke the bear. But but America's still poking the bear. Guess what? Eventually, that bear gonna respond. And I'm gonna end it right there as far as this article. It got a whole lot more, but it kind of go into a little bit of jargon. But this is the one scripture that came to my through the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. This is Ezekiel 28, verse 10. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. So it's going to come a point at some time in this existence that we're living that the Lord is going to put the thought of actually attacking America for real in the heart, in the thoughts of the Russian president, because it's been warning after warning after warning. When somebody warn you and you keep going and they warn you again and keep going, when it do come, it's going to be bad. So that's what's going to happen. And with that, shalom.